Welcome back into Lowcountry Money Talk. Good news for you if you're just tuning in. Hey, we're talking about debt.
Oh, well, everybody loves it.
The national debt, the debt ceiling, how it affects us all. So we're going to talk about that now. We're actually going to dive in and discuss the specifics of how it could affect you. So if we have money, we're in retirement or nearing retirement, we have money in mostly pre-tax, we need a tax plan. Super important. So let's talk about that, and then also how is this all going to come back to affect our Social Security?
Right.
Because some people don't think about that. I know I wasn't thinking about it until you pointed it out. So talk us through it.
So let's talk about this. So this debt ceiling increase means over 2 years that our debt's going to go from 32 trillion to 36. That's pretty much guaranteed. It's a spending plan.
I have no words. Right, yes.
If you give a department, here's $4 trillion, make sure you spend it or you won't get any more.
Yep.
In the government, they're going to spend all that pretty quick.
Yes.
So they're going to add another 4 trillion to the 32. So we'll be at 36 trillion in 2 years. Service on the debt, paying our interest on government bonds and positions like that is going to be more than what we pay to fund our military.
That is
in a year.
Just wild.
So we could have a complete new military for what we're going to pay in interest on our debt. Wow. So we fund into military about 800 to a billion to $1 trillion a year, and pretty soon service on this debt is going to be $1 trillion a year.
Wow.
So we could have an entire new military just by the interest we're paying. And also that's going to push that debt up a lot faster too.
Absolutely.
Because they're just going to borrow that to pay
that.
More. So let's get to Social Security.
This is a wild circle. Okay, Social Security, yes.
Okay, so people need to understand that their Social Security may be taxable. Okay, a lot of people think of it as, well, what's it tax? Why is it taxable? Okay, so here's the thing. If I make, depending on if I'm married, filing jointly, if I'm single, there's categories on how much of my Social Security based on my provisional income, a term that the IRS uses to determine how much they want to take back, how much is going to be taxable. So if we're not careful in unwinding our IRA, up to 85% of our Social Security may be taxable.
Right.
So if I'm receiving jointly, let's say $30,000 a year in Social Security, up to 85% of that could be taxable depending on my provisional income. Now, in that provisional income configuration, which we've been over in this program before, they actually count half of my Social Security in the calculation. So if I'm married filing jointly and I take half my Social Security, I take all of my IRA distributions, I take all my pension distributions, I take all of my 1099 interest and all the dividends and everything that's coming, if that puts me over $44,000, up to 85% of my Social Security could be taxable.
And that can happen so easily. So
and it's taxable, Jessa, at my highest income tax rate.
Right.
So if my rate is 22%, then I would take 85% of my Social Security times 22%. That's what I would owe in taxes because now my Social Security. So then we back it out and say, what if I could figure out a way where my Social Security wasn't going to be taxed? Or instead of 85%, maybe 50%. Okay? So that's what we want to do the tax planning for.
Right.
To find out, hey, can we get that down? Can we change that? Maybe we don't take as much. Now, there is one thing that doesn't count as provisional income. There's a couple of things, but the most prevalent is distributions that I take from my Roth IRA or my Roth 401k.
Wow. It's so eye-opening because I don't know about viewers at home, but again, tax planning, and you think about your taxes each year and that sort of tax, but the amount that it could affect you if you do not have a plan in advance is just, it could be life-changing. So really good stuff, really important. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this topic, of course, about tax diversification. We've heard Phil talk about the buckets, so we'll get to all of that. Can we do that today? Okay, good. We'll do that next here on Lowcountry Money Talk.